Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube. It is the girl Honey. Welcome back people, and those of you who are new here. My name is Honey. I'm a British astrologer. You guys can find me at honeysastro.com. My social handles are also honeysastro. I will link them all down here where you can find me. But yes, I'm doing a very quick video today talking a little bit about unaspected planets. This is interesting. Most of us will have planets that are aspected. The aspects I'm talking about are major aspects such as conjunction, sextile, trine, square, opposition, and in conjunction. So if you have a planet that has the lines going to it somewhere, that means it's a planet that has aspects. A planet that is unaspected has no lines and it has no conjunctions, no nothing. Unaspected planets are planets that are considered as extremes. It can be one extreme or the other extreme. Either way, it's extremism. And what I mean by, depending on what the actual planet is, the planets all represent something. And what we find is that person who has a planet that happens to be unaspected, they're more likely to struggle to identify with that particular planet. Or it could be a thing where they overly identify with that particular planet. So let's talk about what we mean when we talk about planets that are unaspected and what sort of things to expect. To have an unaspected planet is likely to be part of a theme throughout your chart. When it comes to themes, there can be something that we find in the chart that's found in multiple different areas. So for example, themes can be this person has issues with their emotions, issues with communication, issues with creating friends, issues with their intensity, their confidence, their relationships, you name it, there's likely to be a theme throughout the chart. So if someone, for example, had an unaspected Venus is your self-esteem, value, your worth, your relationship desires. We're looking at what is their relationships like. You know, are they married? Have they been married for a long time? Or have they been single for a long time? Have they ever had a relationship? We are seeing two extremes. So someone who feels really unlucky in love, feeling as though, oh my God, like I'm never going to get married. Relationships haven't been good to me. I don't want to date anybody else. And they can be very cold about it. Whereas on the other end of the spectrum, they can be very heavily dependent on relationships. They might feel like I'm fearful of being alone, so they date a lot of people. They don't quite know where to set their values or how to be valued by people, so they experience feeling undervalued. When you think about like someone who's got their Mars unaspected, Mars is motivation, drive, temperament, reaction, response. And when you think about having Mars unaspected, you can see someone who doesn't have a lot of motivation, you know, for success or for drive, who can't get out of bed every day, who has a very hard time trying to get things done, or just literally their motivation is weak. It can also link us to your sex drive as well. Maybe there's not a lot of sexual expression happening. Maybe someone who is consistently abstinent. And then you've got someone who has a lot of sex, who's always having sex, someone who's always got energy to start something new. You know, someone who's just always out there arguing with people. There's always drama in their lives. When you think about an unaspected moon, someone who doesn't want to have kids, someone who never got that fulfilled feeling in their childhood, got their needs met. You know, like at Christmas, like in the UK, Christmas is a big thing. And in the UK, we get together, our families all together, partners, whatever. We cook a big dinner, you know, we give presents and stuff. And that person who has an unaspected moon might have grown up and felt like they've never had that. They've never had that warm, fulfilling feeling from within. Someone who's got an unaspected moon might also end up having like 10 kids. Like, to have that fulfilling feeling in the house, like someone's always home, the heating's always on, there's always food cooked. Like, we just see two different extremes to the one particular unaspected planet. Unaspected sun could also be someone who really struggles to connect to themselves, their conscious self, their expression, being more aware of who they are as a person. There can be issues with dad wasn't very present in your life. There can be issues with your career, being more open-minded about your career. And then you have some people who are extremely driven, who go after their career, go after their goals, go after their aspirations. And someone who's a big performer, who's always making people laugh, always acting, singing, dancing, always embraced in their talent. And when you think about the planet that's unaspected in the houses that it's positioned in, right? We're also looking at that same sort of extremism happening throughout that house. If you had an unaspected Mercury being a planet of communication and processing information, and you have this in your 11th house of your social circles, friends, networks, affiliates, again, the extremisms. Mercury in Gemini here could literally highlight someone who has a lot of networks to communicate with. They're always striving for conversations with multiple different people and wanting to converse within a big community or like a group or some sort of association. But it can also be, you know what, I don't communicate as often as I should do. My communication is mainly in my head, or I write it to myself, but I'm not able to communicate to a group, a large amount of people, or get my work out to more people. The unaspected planet is going to express itself in the sign that it sits in that house. However, it's going to be an extremism of overly doing it or not doing it at all. When you think about the planet Jupiter being the planet of luck, blessings, gains, expansion. Jupiter has no boundaries. It has no limits at all. So to have a Jupiter that's unaspected, you might be someone who has absolutely no boundaries. Yeah, you will drink more than the average person when you go out for drink with your friend. Or you might feel like, you know what, and that's the extreme side to it, in like when it's operating with no boundaries. And then you have the extreme side, and when you think about belief systems, right, it may operate from a strong belief system where, you know what, I don't believe that I should have to drink to be around my friends, you know, to have a good time. Like, its beliefs are going to be strong, which prevent it from doing the extremism of drinking too much. For example, when you think about Saturn is the one planet I feel like I've seen unaspected more in charts than any other planet. When you think about Saturn being the planet of rules, regulations, responsibility, self-limitation, fear, it's discipline. And the problem with discipline lacking in your chart, it means that you can't discipline yourself. So you may not take any accountability for your own reactions, your responses to things, how you react to things. So normally when you think about Saturn creates a lot of restrictions, especially in the house that it sits in. You know, a restriction could be, let's say, in the 5th house, you know, someone who's very creative but not able to get their creativity out there so much, and they're very hard on themselves. There's no restrictions in play. This person could have grown up and there wasn't an authoritative person to tell them, to guide them that they're making the wrong decision or this is not the right thing to do. There wasn't that Saturnian figure to stop them. So that person that has Saturn unaspected might have a lot of chaos in their lives and might just struggle quite a lot to try to regulate the things that they have going on in their lives. Unaspected planets do leave you feeling a little bit like, oh my god, like what do I do with this particular planet? How do I work it? I always say, like, we are grown-ups, we're adults, right? Most of us are adults. So think about being born with that placement that's unaspected and living with it until you discover that I shouldn't be dealing with the planet that's unaspected like that. So that length of time it's taken you to learn that behavior, it can take you that length of time to unlearn it. So it's a process. So the advice I would definitely give people who have unaspected planets is to learn about creating balance. You are likely to be on the extremism of what that unaspected planet represents, and you've got to tone it down or turn it up a notch. That's what it's about. All right, bye.